Unbelievable. Now, slightly closer to home, Lou, tell us a bit about Dragonfly.
Oh, this is a mission, near and dear to my heart after spending so many years studying the atmosphere of Titan. Dragonfly is a mission that was recently approved for funding. It is going to fly to Saturn's largest moon, Titan. And from there, it will drop a helicopter, a drone, onto the surface of Titan. I mean, think about this now. We're at, what, over a billion kilometers away, and you're going to pinpoint a landing of a drone on the surface of Titan. And this drone will fly around, sense the atmosphere. It will have a plutonium power source, right? Because you're out far from the sun, and besides that, you have an obscuring atmosphere, so not a lot of sunlight gets through. And it has a mass spectrometer on board that will tell us what the surface is made of, what the atmosphere is made of. It has some other instruments. Absolutely phenomenal mission. And I believe it launches in 2027 is what I remember. So pretty exciting.
How long is it going to take to get there?
I don't remember. Let's see. It's I know it's a lot slower than Voyager.
Right. Yeah.
Let's see. Voyager made it 77 to 81 or so, is 4 years. So it's probably somewhere around a decade or so.
Because I think Cassini did it. It was launched in '96 and got there in 2004, didn't it? So that was
right.
eight and a half years, something like that. Yeah, yeah. But well, let's hope we live long enough to see it.
Yeah, because
yes.
this Dragonfly is going to be a lot larger than Ingenuity on Mars, of course, with blades, it's not slightly smaller compared to its size. For the simple reason that the atmosphere is going to be a lot thicker than it is on Mars.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
Just to mention Ingenuity, it was only supposed to last 5 flights. It's just completed its 25th. So well done. Well done. Round of applause to little Ingenuity.
Yeah, well done. Indeed so. But Dragonfly is going to be about the size of a car, isn't it? It's quite a big... When we think of a drone, we think of those little ones we buy in the shops. This is the sort of getting towards car sized. So
isn't the power source similar to what's on Perseverance? That type of thing.
Yeah. And of course, I think the wonderful next step after Dragonfly will be a submarine on Titan.
Oh wow!
And I know
or Europa.
Or Europa. Yeah, absolutely.
Half the distance, twice the fun.
Yeah, definitely. And Enceladus, of course. Let's not forget Enceladus. I would love to be a spelunker climbing down inside the tiger stripes on Enceladus. Because that ocean isn't they think it's not actually that deep under the tiger stripes and could conceivably be reachable. Wouldn't that be fantastic?
We've talked before about the recently released planetary decadal survey saying what planetary science should focus on for the next 10 years, and an Enceladus orbiter, I'm not sure if lander as well, but has been put as a high priority.
Yeah. But let's just ask the question, and perhaps our viewers can answer this in the comments. If you had unlimited budget to go to one planet in the next decade or so, which one would it be and why? So let's go round. Let's start at my top. Michael, what would yours be? Where'd you want to go?
Oh, that's a good question, really. I really like Titan because of the atmosphere and the fact that the Huygens probe got there first, and I'd like to see a follow-on to that.
Right, Lou.
You stole my thunder. I mean, I've studied this thing for a couple of decades and would love to be able to be there and see it in person. And I imagine even seeing through the rather thick photochemical haze that the bright Saturn would look amazing from the surface of Titan.
Can you imagine? I've seen paintings of that, and you could just imagine yourself being there, and oh my God, it would be amazing. Absolutely amazing. What about you, Daz? Where do you want to go?
Enceladus or Europa. That's where I'd like to go. I want to get into these oceans, and I mean, Lou's done the aqualung diving, so we'll send him up there, do his Jacques Cousteau bit, and
Right.
come back with all these new discoveries of creatures big and small. That's what I would like to see.
Fantastic.
Anything going out to the ice giants.
Oh, right.
Let's get out
You're
there.
there. You're there. Yeah.
I've just noticed in the chat on Facebook, Frank, who used to be on our panel.
Frank's there, is he? Hi, Frank.
Yeah, welcome, Frank. And
welcome, Frank. Perhaps you can come and join us one night. Come and be on the panel.
And he's still looking forward to balloons in the atmosphere of Venus.
Yeah.
Well done.
Nice
Frank.
to see you, Frank. Thanks for popping in. Rachel, where do you want to go?
I think Enceladus or Titan, but I was just saying to Karim in the chat earlier, I don't think we give our own planet enough credit. I think, we're looking at all these rocks elsewhere, but actually, can you imagine being somewhere else, looking at us and everything we've created on our own little sphere? And I think actually we don't take enough credit for our own planet, but Enceladus or Titan for me.
Right. Okay. Dave?
Well, I'm with Ken. I'm torn between Venus and Titan. I'd love to see if you could surf on the seas of Titan, although it would be very calm, I should imagine, or catch penguins as they rain down with the sulfuric acid of Venus. But there we go. We'll never find out.
do you want to know the bad news about Titan, Dave?
Do please, yeah.
Well, it's always been assumed that those enormous lakes, if you can call them that, or seas, if you want to call them that, on Titan, had waves. And they've discovered, actually, because of the nature of the methane and ethane and the petrochemicals, the tallest waves on those lakes cannot exceed 1 millimeter in height. So
in that case, Andy, penguins it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Where are you, Keith?
I would like to go to Uranus. Apart from the fact that, Voyager 2 swept past and we only got a limited view of it and its moons. The moons themselves are intriguing because I think they show similar characteristics to Enceladus and other active moons we see in the solar system. So there's a lot there to be discovered. And why has Miranda, for example, one of the smaller moons, got a patchwork quilt surface? And why has Umbriel got a completely, what appears to be inert surface covered in dark material, except for one large impact crater at the north end of the moon, compared to the more active fissured surfaces we see on the other three? So interesting.
The Death Star.
Star. What about Steve?
Well, I was going to say exactly that same thing. I think Europa and Enceladus in terms of search for life, but I think generally some of the moons, a tour of the moons to discover why some of them are so tortured in their surfaces, gouged, crazed, scraped, to reveal some of the planetary processes that must have happened to create them and knock them into shape, exactly as Keith has just said. But also we discover where they actually came from, because the chances are they're probably captured, or quite likely captured, rather than necessarily forming in planetary orbit in the first place. So I'm sitting on the fence there, I know.
Well, they think Miranda has actually been broken up and reformed several times, hence its rather bizarre terrain, that it's sort of been impacted hard enough to break apart, but it's been pulled back together by its own gravity in a slightly different order. So, like a jigsaw puzzle gone wrong, which is absolutely fascinating. And of course, you've got the solar system's tallest cliffs on Miranda, which vertical walls of sheer ice that are, how many miles high was it? 11 miles high, something like that, 12 miles high. And it would take you nearly 40 seconds if you jumped off, because of the low gravity. It would take you nearly 40 seconds to get to the bottom.
Is that Miranda you're talking about?
Yeah.
I worked it out. It's 12 minutes.
That's 12 minutes, is it? Oh, my God.
And you'll still die at the bottom, because if you think about it, you won't reach terminal velocity. There's no atmosphere.
No, that's right. That's right.
You'll just keep going faster and faster.
Yeah.
Andy, sorry for interrupting. It looks like there's a girls' trip getting arranged off to Enceladus.
Really?
What are the lads? Yeah.
Well,
Rachel and Kath, they're organising it in the background. Where are we going to go as the lads? A lads' nice out.
Oh. Triton. Triton's good.
Triton. Is that the name of the club?
Yeah, yeah.
Lots of atmosphere.
It's full of old geezers.
Hey,
Hey.
Andy and his jokes. He's got his joke in.
Come on, I haven't made one so far. Okay, Roger, I think we're your last but not least.
I'd probably go to Titan as well, just to see. But I'd perhaps go to Pluto. That's a common planet.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe be able to see if there's any observable further planets like Planet X.
Right.
If there's any further discoveries of any other objects that haven't yet been discovered yet.
Yeah. And Lou, you wanted to say something about New Horizons, I think.
New Horizons, yeah, well, not exactly new news, but back in 2020, back in April 18th of 2021, New Horizons passed 50 AU from the sun, 50 times the distance from Earth to sun. And so that was a big momentous occasion. But the real momentous occasion will be when we have yet a third spacecraft in interstellar space. So New Horizons is predicted to cross the heliopause, the boundary between the sun's influence and interstellar space, somewhere in the 2040s. And that depends a little on the shape of the heliopause, which we don't think is perfectly spherical. But that will be an exciting time if we're still, especially if we're still communicating with it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the thing about New Horizons is, I mean, that was on an exceptionally fast trajectory to Pluto, wasn't it? And so, you know, if they can do a New Horizons, they can get to Saturn quicker with Dragonfly, I'm sure. So let's wait and see. Right. Well, I think, ladies and gentlemen, our time is just about up here. So obviously we'd like to thank you, the viewers, for tuning in